everybody. How are you guys doing? All right. Can you hear me if I come out here? I want to get to know you guys a little bit, and I'll tell you at the beginning, my only goal is to be helpful to you guys today. And so I'm very curious what's on your mind, what you guys want to talk about. The whole idea is shaping future leaders, and the country needs you guys like we never, ever have before. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit of my own story just to sort of warm you up and get you thinking. But I am super interested in what questions you guys have and what you want to talk about. But first of all, who's from Washington State? That's where I'm from. Oh my gosh, who's from the West Coast? Where are you guys from? Let's. where? Where? Ohio? The great Cincinnati, Ohio. Where else? Florida? Nice, Florida. Where else? Wisconsin? Indiana? Ohio? There you go. Where? Michigan. Nice. Okay, let's do other things. Who's a tenderfoot? Probably not many. Second class? First class? Nice. Star? Life? Some Eagles? Nice. Congratulations to all of you guys. I see some female scouts here. So nice to see you. That one of the best things we've done in a long, long time. Welcome to you guys. Who's done the National Youth Leadership Program? Which of you guys? Nice. Now, who's a patrol leader or has been a patrol leader? How about senior patrol leader? Good. So you guys are natural leaders. That's good. I'll talk a little bit more. You know, the country, it is, if you talk to adults, it's as divided and sort of polarized in my mind as it's ever been. I'm 62, so I'm older than a lot of you guys. But I just would say that as I listen to the nightly news, it's mainly about people not getting along. And I think Scouts teaches us all ways that we can get along and we can solve problems and fix our patrol, fix our troop, fix our unit. And I think those are skills that are really going to benefit the world. And I'm so happy that you guys are here and sort of willing to engage and fix these problems as we move forward. I'm going to tell you, I might spend 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes and just give you my own background and on honestly how scouting helped me at my job at Alaska Airlines. You guys are a lot of Midwest and East Coast folks. Have any of you guys know of Alaska Airlines? Anybody flown with us? Did we lose anyone's bag? We did? I hope not. So Alaska is the fifth largest airline. We have about 330, 340 airplanes, something like that. 23,000 employees. We fly to 120 cities. I was really, really proud. Our people earned the J.D. Power Award for the best customer service for 12 years in a row while I was there. So they're people that I think do it right, and they did it safely. And I was really, really honored to be with that group. And I'll tell you a little bit about how I got there and some of the ways that scouting helped me as I got there. I came from a big family. Any of you guys come from big families? 6 kids. My dad was a Boeing guy. My mom was a nurse. There you go. She worked sometimes and didn't, sort of whatever was needed to hold the family together. I was third in the birth order. There's a big gap between my oldest brother and the youngest. The last two were twins. None of us were planned, I don't think, but they definitely weren't planned, and it was 2 of them. But that's what we have. My wife and I have 3 daughters, and they always tell the baby she wasn't planned, and we always tell the first 2 they weren't planned either. Anyway, that was a little bit of my growing up. I never in a million years thought I'd end up running Alaska Airlines. I loved Boy Scouts. I remember when my older brothers went to a camp called Camp Westmoreland in Alabama. I couldn't go, and they were packing these big trunks in the day, and I just remember I wanted to go swim and cook my own food and use an axe and a knife and shoot guns and do all the fantastic things that Scouts do. I think the magic of Scouts is they get you out doing things like that, and then at the same time you're doing advancement, that's a really useful skill in life, and they're teaching you about the Scout Oath and Scout Law. And I'll tell you, I didn't think a huge amount about the Scout Oath and Scout Law as I was reciting it, every week. But I sure think about it a lot now, and I just think it's a fantastic thing that this program does for people. I went to a school called Pacific Lutheran University. My family grew up Catholic, and I have no idea how I ended up at a Lutheran school, but I did. I met my wife, who was also grew up Catholic at a Lutheran school. I wanted to be a teacher when I went to PLU, and then I don't know what happened. My next older brother was an accountant, and I had learned to fly when I was 18 or 19. My next older brother was an accountant, and I saw that all the accounting people were getting jobs like in September, October of their college year, and I thought, I need a job, so I decided to change my major. But I went to a company called Price Waterhouse for 8 years, and then I went to Alaska, and I was there for 31 years. I started in accounting, but I ended up doing, route planning and fleet airplane selection and marketing. We all airlines have a lot of unions. I did a lot of that stuff, and I was very, very proud of our company's record with our labor groups. But anyway, it was I feel so blessed. It was a fantastic run. Early in my career, and I'm going to get to your questions a lot sooner than you think. Early in my career, I thought it was all, I went home from work with a headache almost every day, thinking, like, you guys won't be doing this yet, but like in accounting, can I make the debits equal the credits? Or how do I actually do this fuel accounting? Or we called it prorating a ticket. If someone bought a ticket to fly from Anchorage to Florida, how much of the revenue do you allocate to Anchorage, Seattle, and how much? There's just all those technical problems. But I'll just tell you, that was the first 10 years of my career. The last 30 years was all people stuff. It was all people stuff. It was, I don't know, and I'll talk, let me just talk a bit more, and I'll talk more about that. But my real message for you was all stuff that the Scout Oath and Scout Law, as well as fantastic parents, put me in a position to sort of deal with that stuff. Some of the questions were, one of the leaders of the company did something that wasn't good, Is that person going to keep their job, or are they not going to keep their job? Or we have a job opening, and we've got somebody here that's like really, really good with the numbers, you might call it, like with whatever it might be. I got a person over here who really, we would call it the values. They embody the values of the Scout Oath and Scout Law. And sorry for looking so much this way, guys. Which one of those do you hire? Do you hire the person with the numbers or the values? How do you make that selection? Maybe you have a competitor, and we can talk more about these if you have questions, or you have a partner that you invest many, many years into, but they become a competitor. How do you talk to customers about that? How do you talk to employees about that? How do you sort of get your plan together? A lot of times, and everyone in life has this opportunity, but you have things at your company that, and I'm super proud of what we did at Alaska, but you always have a bad quarter or a bad situation, a safety incident, something like that. Do you tell your board of directors about it right away, or do you not tell it? Do you sort of spin it and make it positive even though it's not positive? Or do you sort of tell them the cold, hard truth of what happened and make it sort of as quick and easy as you can? They're all things that you wrestle with. And I'll just tell you so many times and today, and nobody, just to say it, nobody does a perfect job of living by the Scout Oath and Scout Law. And the counting, most is importantly counting me. But that doesn't mean you can't try to. With every day, a Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly. You can try to do that with every encounter that you have. So that's a little bit of my life, my career, very quickly. We got 3 daughters. We got 2 grandkids. We have another grandkid that is due today, and I'm sure hoping that kid comes out. But anyway, I really want to see what's on your mind. I want you guys to ask questions. I'll try to, like I said earlier, you guys are the future of our country. We got a lot of optimism, a lot of hope. I'll try to answer any question you have as honestly as you can. And if you don't have questions, I've got 4 or 5 for you. And Brent is telling me 20 minutes, so we got lots of times for whatever questions you have. Who wants to go first? Yes, sir. Biggest challenge, the gentleman asked what the biggest challenge was at Alaska Airlines. Alaska Airlines had 23,000 people, and it's honestly, the Scouts have some of this right now. The biggest challenge, anybody read The Boys in the Boat? Is that what it is? Is that it's about the team that won the Olympics in 1936 in Germany. But the biggest challenge is getting 23,000 people rowing the boat in the same direction. And in that they talked about something in the Olympics in that boat that when you actually got all the people on the boat rowing sort of in perfect harmony, the boat almost lifted out of the water. I can't remember if they called it lift or swing or something like that, but it is a beautiful thing when 23,000 people are working together. And honestly, that you could see that in your school, you see it in your patrol. I remember being a patrol leader, and we, like 6 or 7 of us, weren't working together. But when you are working together to make a meal or to plan a hike or whatever it might be, how well things could go. And I mean, probably like honestly, I probably got a B on that, or hopefully a B plus or something like that. What we always believed is that if you gave people, first of all, you got to be, you can't be worried about yourself. You got to be worried about your patrol or your troop or whatever. And if people can smell that in you, that counts for a lot. And then the other thing we always believed is that if they saw the same information that you saw, they'd make the same decision. So we were always very, very, I hate these cliche terms, but we were very transparent. If we had a problem with a competitor, we laid it all out there. If we had a problem with safety, we laid it total sunlight, totally exposed it. If we weren't performing financially, we laid it all out there. If something else, and it's really powerful to say, here's what's going on. Here's our plan to fix it. Will you help me? People will almost always say yes. If you say, here's the problem I see. Here's our plan for fixing it. Do you have any ideas to change the plan? And then at some point, you're done changing the plan. And then the most important part, will you help me implement it? And people will often say yes. Hey, thanks. Great question.
Very quickly, a wise man once said that scouting is a game with a purpose. So we're going to gamify this a little bit.
Oh, good.
So I have this. It's called a toss box.
Yeah.
And what you can do is you can just toss it to the person who has a question, and they can talk into this squishy part right here. And it's a microphone. So
all right.
Go ahead.
This gentleman right here. Let's see how good of a tosser I am.
So how did you get re-involved in scouting?
There's a guy, I lived on 194th Avenue Southeast in Issaquah, Washington. And this guy said to me, we had 3 daughters, so I wasn't like a troop leader or anything like that, because girls weren't in scouting at that point in time. But this guy said, hey, Brad, do you want to come to a Friends of Scouting luncheon? His name was Charlie. I said, sure. And I was maybe 35. And he came back a week later and said, hey, I really want you to come to this luncheon. I said, I already said yes, And anyway, he kept like twisting my arm, and I said, Charlie, I'm in. It's I love scouting. I always have. And so that was it. And I ended up going from there to being on the Chief Seattle Council board and so forth. But I didn't do something I should do. What's your name? Where are you from? Sebastian?
Yeah, and I'm from Gulfstream Council, which is, South Florida.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Nice. Thanks, Sebastian. Who's next? Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Who's next? Yes, ma'am. All right, we got diversity already. Good catch, too.
I'm Lori. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, out of Three Harbors Council.
Nice.
And I was wondering what your favorite part of scouting is.
I love things like this, honestly. I loved, I actually get to ride the zip line in a couple hours, but I'll just tell you, honestly, I'm on boards. I'm the chair of our board now. I do a lot of Zoom calls, a lot of emails, a lot of that, but you guys are so motivating. You are the future, and it gives us lots of reason to be hopeful and optimistic. And I love being around young people. People our age talk about a growth mindset. They talk about being 62 and always growing and learning, but you guys are actually doing that. You are growing and learning, and so I totally love things like this. Who's next? Yes, sir.
So my question is, I am actually into aviation, so so I know a lot about. So I'm wanting to own my own airline later in life. So got any tips on that?
You know what? All I'll say, and this is a total aviation cliche, but the sky's the limit. What's your name? Danny. Danny?
Mm-hmm.
My phone's going off, Danny. No, you know what? I'll just tell you something. My dad was a really funny guy, and there were 6 kids in our family, and I always told people I was the least of the 6 that you would think would end up running Alaska Airlines. I always said if you told him early in his life that Brad was going to end up running Alaska Airlines, he would have said, that one? So what I would just say, Danny, is believe in it, keep working at it, and anything can happen. What I would say also, and I think the people that get ahead the best are the ones that the personal ambition is matched with company ambition. So make sure that if you want to end up running an airline or owning an airline, figure out what's in it for the people that you're around. What's in it for the mechanics or the reservation agents or the customer service agents or the pilots or the fuelers. And if you can sort of create a concept that's good for all of them and everybody wins together, you're going to go get your dream. But great question. Thank you. Who's next? All right. Right here. Tell us your name first and then what your question is.
My name is Deacon. I'm from Westerville, Ohio. When did you start Speaker Series?
I didn't start it. Gary, when did it start, Gary? About 2 hours ago. Is this the first year? This is the first year. Great question, Gary. Yeah, thank you. All right. How about right here? Only because I'm just not, I got to walk up there. I'm not sure about my ability to not injure somebody.
My name's Jess Bennett.
Jess?
Where you from?
I think I'm from Florida.
You think? All right.
Yo, what was your Eagle project?
My Eagle project was my dad was an engineer and he was our scoutmaster and he was not going to let me off easy. So I built a bridge over a little creek and I remember it was 18 feet long or something like that, and it was arced, and the shape was a parabola, and I still don't know what a parabola is, but he made me do all the calculations to get the angle of the parabola right, but that was our project. What, are you an Eagle, Jess?
I'm Life.
Do you know what your project's going to be?
A little bridge, not a bridge, a stadium.
Copy what you said.
Yeah, no, a stadium in front of a church.
Nice. A little, something like this?
Yeah, something.
Nice. Thanks, Jess.
One more question.
Yeah, go ahead.
When is Tom Hanks coming? I'm at Forrest Gump.
Yeah, I don't know when Forrest Gump's coming. Do you guys know when? Probably this afternoon. This gentleman had one, I think. Yeah.
Hello.
Yep.
Rio.
My name is Rio Lima.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you. Where are you from, Ria?
I'm Rio, R-I-O.
Nice. I like it.
I'm from Florida, Port St. Lucie, and I wanted to ask if you have any tips for my Eagle project.
I do. Who charters your unit? Who you chartered by?
Huh? My church.
What kind of does the church have any needs?
Any needs? Well, so I already have a project, like stuff that can help me get through it.
Yeah.
Like helpful tips.
I think what I said to this gentleman earlier, I think, the great thing about the Eagle Project is the confidence it gives you as you get through it. But I just think I would plan big. I would be bold. I would be courageous. You'll feel better, the sort of bit more impact that your project has. But I would do what I mentioned to this gentleman. I would, and sometimes kids like to, adults do too. You like to joke and tease each other and all that. But at some point, be serious with them and say, hey, this is what I want to do in my community. This is the impact I want to have. I need whatever, 8 people or 3 people on this many Saturdays or something. Will you help me? And will you come? Will you show up? And just ask them and try to build that sense of team and support, and you'll get through it. You guys have so much going for you. I'm not worried about you at all, but sometimes you just need to know it. But you're going to get your Eagle. There's no doubt in my mind.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Let's come. I'm going to come back to this side, but we're going to get some of these women over here to ask a couple of questions. Who wants to go first? All right. Yeah.
All right. My name's Sophia.
Sophia from where?
Michigan.
Okay. Nice. What part of Michigan?
Like Detroit, Ann Arbor, like in
Nice.
between.
Gotcha.
What's your favorite part about aviation?
You know what? It's Anna, right? Sophia. I'm sorry. I apologize. My favorite part of aviation, and for those that want to be pilots, you get in an airplane and you close the door and you start the engine and you get to take off into the sky. And I always think this is the greatest freedom in the world. This is the greatest country in the world. It's an amazing feeling. And I think I soloed. I was 18 and it was a sunny day like this. I took off over Lake Washington and I feel the exact same way today. It's an amazing, amazing feeling. And anybody that has any interest in any job in aviation, we need pilots, we need mechanics, we need res agents. That there are just so many amazing jobs in that field, and I would really encourage you to look into it, Sophia, if you have any interest. What rank are you? Nice. When are you going to get your eagle?
Hopefully this time next year.
Nice. Nice. Good. Somebody else in your row. Who else wants to ask a question? All right, this young man here.
Here you go.
Hi, my name is Atlee, and I am from Florida.
Nice. There are a bunch of Floridians in this crowd, and we need more Washingtonians next time. Yes, sir.
If you were CEO during Flight 261, what would you have done differently?
Yeah. You know, this young man actually asked a very important and serious question. He asked about Flight 261 was an accident our company had 23 years ago, and 88 people died in that accident, and it was a super tough deal. And I was there at the time, and I was actually with our CEO when he heard news of the accident. And I don't think I would honestly. I think we thought we were a safe company prior to 261. We didn't say no to jet engine overhauls or overtime to fix something and all that. But at the same time, and I wouldn't fault the CEO at the time, definitely. But at the same point in time, I don't think we made safety sort of forefront to every conversation. We didn't say that we want to be as safe as we can possibly be. And there is a lot of risk to aviation. There's all kinds of technology now that makes it far safer than it used to be, but it's not as safe as some people might think it is. And so it depends on people every single day saying, I'm going to operate this flight safely. We're not going to depart until everything is good. Every person on that airplane has the authority to put the airplane on the ground at any point during the flight if they want to. So one thing I think the company's learned is just to always talk about safety, put it forefront, and to remind people it's not an eye roll, sort of boilerplate. We're going to talk about safety. It's critically important. And I'm super glad that you asked that question, because the same thing is important in scouting. And you guys use safety. We've just been through a horrible, horrible bankruptcy that stems from use safety issues that most of which happened a long time ago. But those risks exist today. And I hope in your troops, I hope the older scouts are looking out for the younger scouts. I hope you guys, the tenting policies and the 2-on-1 policies and all that, I hope you are making those real, because it's extremely important. Great question. Thank you. How about you? We'll toss it up. All right, here we go. Give it a whirl. Oh, I need an assist.
My name is Ethan.
Ethan?
Yeah, from Ohio.
Ohio.
When did you join Scouts?
I joined as soon as I could. I must have been 8 years as a Cub Scout, and I wasn't fast I think I got my eagle at 16 or something. There's a guy, Ben is here. He earned every single merit badge that could be earned. I earned 21.0 merit badges. I didn't earn 22 merit badges, but yeah, I love being outside, and I think subliminally I like the Scout Oath and Scout Law and the advancement and all of that, but I love being outside and doing the activities. You have other questions, Ethan, or just that one?
Just that one.
All right. Hand it to the guy right next to you, and I'll try to talk quicker so we can get a few more questions in.
But my name is JQ.
Yeah?
I'm from Ohio.
Yeah?
Honest question, are you a rice or noodle type of guy?
Oh, noodles. It's not even a question.
Me personally, I am a rice guy.
Yeah, you are? I like rice. Like when we're eating healthy at our house, it'd be salmon and rice or something like that. But when I had a bad day, it's going to be spaghetti with noodles. That's our move. This nice lady here. Yeah. Thank you. Great question.
I'm Kaya,
Kaya?
and I'm from Ohio.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Was there someone specific that inspired you to get into aviation?
That's a great question. I'm going to spend a minute and a half and tell you this story. My dad was, in a lot of ways, was my role model. My dad was a Boeing engineer, but he wasn't in aviation at all. He did missiles and, he did anti-aircraft guns. He did a lot of defense stuff. He didn't know airplanes or work with that stuff at all, but he was a big role model for me. I actually got a job in college for Amtrak. A buddy of mine, he was also an Eagle Scout, said, hey, do you want to work for Amtrak? And I said, yeah, I'd love to. And I didn't think he'd actually get me the job, but he did. And it was a really, really good job. My parents didn't have much extra money. They didn't have any extra money. But all of a sudden, I had a couple of dollars in my pocket. And I don't know if I told you this yet. My dad had polio. And so he had no use at all of his right leg and only like 20% use of his left leg. So he was on crutches or a wheelchair his whole life. But I had a couple extra dollars, and I drove by the Renton Airport, which is where 737s are built. And it said, Discovery Flight, $20. And I walked in and said, I think I'd like to do a Discovery flight. And it's the first time in my life that I had $20. And anyway, I went and I took it. They said, let's go up right now. I said, good. And I went home and I told my dad about it. And he was, he was a little like, I want to say this in the nicest way, but just not walking himself. He lived through us. He loved these adventures. But he's also a little bit like, don't you tell your parents about something like this before you do it. Anyway, that was lesson 1. I went back the next day and took my first lesson, and I was licensed the next summer. It was that's how it got started. It was fantastic. Oh, we got like 5 women here with their arms up. Let's get a couple of these guys.
Hi, I'm Liberty from Michigan.
Yes.
So, what is like the greatest piece of advice you can give like anybody?
What is your greatest piece of advice, Liberty?
Just always believe in yourself and push yourself to whatever you believe in.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't think I can top that, honestly. I think one thing that I think Boy Scouts helps in Scouts BSA helps people with is, I think what you said, Liberty, is totally true, but I would also say keep hammering. I think one thing about it, like you might call it resilience or grit or determination, people will tell you, hey, Brad, you're no good at that. You're never going to make it, or something. Liberty, blah, blah, blah. Just say, whatever. I got the strength in here. And so just believe, you said believe in yourself, but just that perseverance, you can, I don't know, keep smiling at people. You know what? If you agree, if you disagree, just keep smiling, but don't give up on the objective, because you will get there. Hand it to one of the other people in your row.
I do not.
Oh, our last question. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
This
wait,
is a little
hold on.
intimidating now.
Can I ask?
Sure, go ahead. You can ask.
Oh, thank you. Hi, I'm Carissa from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And
I want to trade one Wisconsin, one Ohio, and one Florida I'll trade 3 for 1 for one Washingtonian next time. I'm teasing you, Carissa.
So I was just wondering why girls and boys can't be in the same Boy Scout troop.
You know what? This is a great question. What do the boys think of this idea? Yeah. Keep talking.
We used to be fully the same kind of troop in Troop 49, but and we're like a family in Troop 49, but I keep seeing, us being forced, into 49G and 49B, and it's really just not good.
Right.
I don't understand why.
Right. Well, it's a great question, and let's talk about that for a minute. I think there's 2 things that we've got to think about, Carissa. One is, how do we actually, and I can totally see the appeal, and I'll just be totally honest, I would definitely be lobbying for this if I was a young person. But the first thing is, we got to keep kids safe, and we've got to know, go ahead.
Campouts, and we're always very safe, with everything, and, we're basically in the same troop, but we're not allowed to be in the same troop.
Right.
And really just, it's not okay.
I'm tracking. So the considerations I would say are, I know that we do have linked troops today, but are we positive that we can assure the safety of all the young people in the program? And it's not, after what we've been through, that's not a light consideration. That's a very serious consideration. The second thing is actually, do we actually, and it's the reason, I totally get why boys and girls want to be together. I totally get that. But do we actually know the science of how people learn best? And I'll be totally honest with you, I'm very open-minded on that, but I think we should look at it. And it's, I think there is, and you guys give me a little bit of grace here, but I think there is some evidence that women in particular, you guys are doing awesome in Boy Scouts, and I'm nervous about even going down this path, but do you do as well in a co-ed setting as you would do in a single
100%.
Yeah. Okay. Then that's a good answer. I guess All I'm saying is I think we should really be looking at the data on that, and if we do make a decision, it should be based on facts and data.